Love is in the air, y'all. Y'all ready? Here we go. All right, Marcus and I are going to be doing love doctoring for Nicco, so he can find him a good anarchist hotep woman out here in these streets. Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy. I am Chad. You see Marcus and Nicco up at the top. I'm going to go through our quote for tonight real quick. Here we go. This is from Eliphas Levi, or is it Levi? You said right? Yeah, Eliphas Levi. My bad. I screwed it up anyway. When we love, we see the infinite in the finite. We find the creator in the creation. That's a beautiful, beautiful quote. And that's, if you've been watching what I've been doing on the tweeters, that's kind of what I've been all about too. Is like these attachments, these creatures are not an end in and of themselves. They are something that we can see God in, and it's important for us to try to do that. So let's get right to it. Nicco,
let's crack it. Wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let's take a step back here real quick. I would like to entertain the idea of a relationship, but I'm not pursuing it. Young black Negroes need to get their funds up before they try and get the huns up. You feel me? So I've been just working on, I guess, more so myself and my traumas. You got to get those out the way, because, you know, if you want to throw your traumas in a pillowcase and smack your wife in the face with it one day and be like, hey, I'm not fixed, then things don't go the best way that you'd perceive it. So, I mean, relationships are fun, but I'm still young. So I'm not, okay, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I would love a family right now. I've taken care of my siblings since I was a shorty, and I know the rigmarole of the overall spectrum, but I don't know T's, so that's why I take my sweet time. And I'm not ready for another Nick running around here. Like that's not, but I like, it's a worth kind of thing. Do I want to start a family young? Because that's how, you know, they were back in the old days. You know, you started a family young, you kind of groomed it. Granted, there were a whole bunch of different ways of how marriages were arranged back then. If you had an arranged marriage, you didn't give a fuck. You kind of like grew into love. But the thing is like love is a choice. So you feel me? Like it's about like, do I consistently love my wife, or am I going to just say I love her, this feeling that I have for her? You know, a lot of people base their love off of feeling and emotions opposed to the choice of love. You feel me?
I have to take a little bit of issue.
Oh, go ahead.
I did not have much choice. And to be clear, I unlike Chad, who really can talk to, you know, falling in love earlier, starting a family relatively early, although I think I started my family a little earlier. So I'm on my third marriage and final marriage, to be clear. But I'm on my third marriage. I was married twice. I dated a shit ton. You know, I was a little hoe when I was young.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
I'm so sorry.
Echo. That's all right. But
Nicco wants to make sure he doesn't miss any of this game, so that's
right.
No, you gotta record it. We're recording this. We're recording this.
Right.
I can't have failed marriages at this point in my life. Like
right.
we're striving for like one good one.
Right. And Chad can definitely give that perspective.
Yeah, what's cracking, Chad? Go ahead and throw me.
But I need to get to my objection. And
yeah,
that
let Marcus
objection,
get his point off real quick.
Right. My objection is I did not have a choice. There was no choice. When Amber fell into my life, I was dating a woman who was stable. She has similar spirituality to what I did. And it worked. You know, she was relatively nice to my kids. She was, you know, a good woman. There was nothing wrong with her. Not a thing. I would have chosen at the time to be with her because she fulfilled what I needed. Amber fell into my life. And what happened was her and I became friends. And then that friendship, she was everything I had ever wanted in a woman. And love took a hold of me like no tomorrow. I did not choose to be with Amber. That was not my choice. Once I really got to know her and found out that she wanted maybe a little bit of me, there was no stopping that. There was nothing. Love took me by my balls and said, "This is where you're going."
So you wouldn't
You
consider
said
that.
love took you by the balls.
So you wouldn't consider that the choice of the other head thinking for you? Like
no, because the other girl worked just fine. And to be clear, I didn't cheat on the other girl or anything like that.
You talking about her like she's a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
She worked just fine.
Yeah, she worked just fine. But that's kind of the point. All the women I had in my life up until Amber worked, but they weren't love. That wasn't real. That wasn't something that fulfilled my being and my spirit. And real love, when it hits you, that's what it's like. At least in my experience, it hit me from the side. I did not have a choice. I was going to be with Amber, period.
You said it grabbed you from the balls and it hit you from the side.
Absolutely.
What was this?
Right. Love.
Prison cell. That's what that was.
But it wasn't a prison cell. I absolutely, best thing that's ever happened to me. Real, deep, spiritual love. But I did not, I could not say, this is what I want to do. My heart took over, period. So I have to say, Nicco, if you're looking for, something where you go, oh, I think this person will work, you're not going to find your soulmate. That's not a formula for finding the love of your life, which is hopefully what you're looking for, because you deserve that. You are a wonderful person.
I'm actually, I have very high standards.
Good.
But like, I'm like, I'd say I have high standards, but like, it's something that I don't always have to, like, I always hold up above. When you always have high standards, you forget to think like you add the quality of high standards and you equivalate it to a person, and that completely takes out the experiences that individual could have had for themselves, and overall, like, they just weren't prompt to think like this or certain ways or move like this. So it's a ebb and flow kind of thing, when give and take as well when it comes to certain things as well in relationships.
So Chad's looking at you all longingly.
Does that mean I get to talk now? All right. So I will double down and I will re-raise Marcus's objection. So Marcus objected. I'm going to object to his objection. No. So here's what I think. I think what happened was, Marcus, you started to, I don't want to try to guess and put myself in your head, but it sounds like you kind of stopped following the little Marcus around, and you started building Marcus and getting more in line with where Marcus needed to be.
For sure.
And that's how Amber ended up, so it seems like it was just happenstance, and but no, this is like you following the design, following
Absolutely
God's plan for you. And so what I would say, and that's why I wore this shirt. I was going to wear it anyway with if Hotep with it was able to join us, but I figured why not just keep it here. So first, if you start with this, right? You start with the Hotep, and you build. You keep yourself in your growth in focus, and your direction where you're going in focus. The right person is going to find their way to you. You will find them in the work that you're doing that is in line with where you're supposed to be going. If you're trying to chase ass around everywhere, and it's funny that we're having this discussion now, because I had this same conversation with Jeff on Thursday. And so whenever that episode drops, you'll get to see, like, we went over a lot of this stuff. But I think a lot of times young men, especially, I think young women there's a lot of young women these days that they're chasing the glam, the Instagram style, whining and dining and the fancy life and all that stuff. And so guys feel like they have to give that to them. But what the guys are doing is they're chasing that Instagram ass, and it's getting them in trouble. And what I would say is the first thing you need to do is build yourself so that you have yourself taken care of. And then the people who, like Nerd Nash says, when you're up, that's when she's going to want you. And because like when you're working your way up there, it's you got to find a special person who's going to believe in that dream and help you build it. But I was fortunate enough I was fortunate enough to find that. But I also would say that I think I was following the path that I needed to be on to find my wife. We met each other when we were 18 years old. Had a similar experience to what you had with Amber, where it was like we were best friends at first, and we really took it kind of slow. I mean, we were friends for like 3 months before we started dating, but even then, we took everything slow. We dated, but we never had sex. We just we got engaged. We were engaged for a year and a half. We were together for like 5.5 years before we actually got married. And so one of the things that I wanted to get across is what my experience has been is that when you allow your relationship to build all those other supports, all those other foundational pieces before you start to short circuit it into the baby making stuff. Not that the baby making stuff isn't fun, but when that becomes like the short circuit focus of the relationship too much, you're not building that other stuff. And you also don't get people revealing their psycho tendencies and some of their baggage, some of the things that you don't even realize. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we were going to, there's some stuff that's right now that's real obvious, right? Like, is she pro stabby? Is she anti stabby? Is she stabby agnostic? Like all these things are considerations. And then you start to see that there's some other stuff too. It ain't just about that stuff. Maybe she's anti-stabby, but maybe she loves Lori Lightfoot. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
I'd have to like really question her.
But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But you feel me? Like it's there's a lot of different considerations. I'm just bringing like a political sort of.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But there's other stuff too. Like what's their family dynamic like? How many crazy uncles or aunts or cousins or whatever does she have? Are they constantly bumming money off of her and she's a pushover and she's constantly giving it to them or whatever? You know what I mean? Like you don't know. Does she have a really controlling father who's never going to let y'all, do some of the things that y'all want to do and build what you want to build for you together? And is he always going to be on your ass? So anyway, what were you gonna say, Nicco?
I was told to wait until you hear her have a full-fledged conversation with her mama. And after that, and after you see how she treats her mama, is how she's going to attempt to treat your mama. So you got to pay attention for that. And like, for example, like I went to Champaign this weekend, and this is not somebody talking to their mama, but what you're going back to, Chad, and saying it was a short circuit and like the goal of the weekends for guys, the goal of the weekend. And like I went out to Champaign to go watch wrestling. I had family members out there, and I went with some of my people, and my two guys were out there, and they're like, all right, we're about to go to a few bars. I'm like, all right, cool. Me and my cousins, we all go out to a few bars, and they found themselves two lovely young ladies at the bar, and they were kicking it with them. And they hung out all day, and they got super disappointed because nothing happened. While I went home with my family and enjoyed a nice warm bed, they were suffering in the car. And I was like, so did you get your end goal? What did you come up with today? Did you lose time? Did you gain anything? Did you gain a bunch of
money? I'm sure probably blew a bunch of money.
Money. Like actually, there was a fight that kind of broke out.
Damn.
And like when I was on my way to go grab him, a fight broke out, and I was like, all right, guys, we're about to go. And I like tapped them and be like, okay, we need to go. where my cousin's already in the car, and I get in. My cousin like, hey, where your white friends at, bro? Like one's Mexican and one is white. But like I was like, there's I still. He was like, hey, bro, we about to leave. We don't know if they're about to shoot this place up.
Damn.
And I was like, oh boy, they're being gentlemen and everything, just to like find out like they did all that just to disappoint themselves. The goal is focus on your bags, young men, and she will find your way to you'll find out, because it's like even while you're either coming up or even if you're in a down or bad time, that gem is going to present itself. The universe always likes to trinkle in on little gems, but what the universe is really good at is throwing dirt over it and like seeing if you got a good eye or you're keen enough to be like, oh yeah, that's the money right there. And if you don't have that, if you don't have
diamond
like
in
that,
the rough,
you feel me? If you don't have that keen sense, then you're going to what you these kids call it, be lacking out here, and you're gonna be hurting.
Marcus.
So I wanted to add to what you're saying, Nicco, and in that, you know, from what I've experienced in my life, and I've had lots of fun, I've done lots of things, but it sounds like your mindset's in the right place. You know, you know, you're building, like Chad said, building yourself, putting yourself in, because women are not attractive to somebody, you know, even the guys that go out and get a big car or whatever, that definitely says, look, I have a small penis. Those guys, you know, they're trying to sell that they're successful with their vehicle. But when they go back to the apartment and they have like one towel and and they've got a fork in the whole place, then women pick up on that shit. They don't want, you know, because women do look for stability.
Yeah.
And you know, they want that real stability. They don't want the pretend stability. And if you're just trying to knock boots and get a piece of ass, pretend stability will work all day long. But if you're actually trying to build a relationship, if you're actually trying to find somebody who you can have as a partner and live your life with, then you're going to need to offer real stability. So it sounds like that you're definitely doing that step.
You know, it's funny. As like I'm still super young, and like I've had my tendency of frolicking and being promiscuous. I'm bored. Like I'm kind of bored with the promiscuous life. I would love like a wife and some kids. We can go homesteading. And then I would like to just, okay, I'll hear you're complaining and nagging, cool. And then have an argument because I want to go hang out with my friends because I actually am a very social individual and get that out the way as a young individual, opposed to being 50 some odd years old and having an argument with my wife because I'm still going out with my homies. So I want to start young, but this dating game is food.
Sure. And I had one other thing I wanted to say based on what you. No, it's okay, Nicco. This, you know, we're all part of it. But one of the things you said is pay attention to how she treats her mom or whatever. There is some truth to that. I think that you can base that. But had Amber done that to me, I wouldn't have Amber. Because my parents and my mom was a good woman. She was good, but my dad and I are like mixing water and oil. I mean, totally different people, and we don't get along at all. And he and I argue, and I'll just tell him, you know, I don't, you know, because he's an ass. I'll say, you're an ass. And so if she had based my, you know, what I would be like as a mate on how I interacted with my parents, then I'd have been fucked because that would have been bad. But instead, she did get the impression of how I would be as a father. She saw me raising my kids. She saw me being in my kids' life. So I think that, you know, you're young, and so often you're not going to have a lot of children coming into the dating pool, if you will. But you have to, all of these things, and anything that Chad and I or anybody else can say about love is just going to be guideposts. Your way is going to be your way. You're going to find whatever it is you need to find to get there. And the thing is, Nicco, I have faith that you will, because I know you well enough. Sure, I only see you on this podcast, and we talk a bit outside of it, but I know you well enough to know that you're going to make somebody a very good husband one day. And because of that, you mentioned earlier that you are picky. Be picky. You're not a bad looking dude, and you can say, you know what? I don't need a crazy bitch in my life. I need somebody who is going to provide a partnership that I can move forward with, who also, and there is nothing wrong with saying that looks good. There is not a fucking thing wrong with saying that the person that you're going to be with needs to be physically attractive. You know, if you like thick girls, okay, you like thick girls. If you like thin girls, then you like thin girls. If you like girls with red hair, then you like girls with red hair. If you like white girls, then you like white girls. If you like Hispanic girls, then you like Hispanic girls. It does not fucking matter. It is what you like. And that shit matters. Now, that being said, again, all of this is just guideposts. You never know what you'll get hit with.
And if you like white girls, you're going to piss off all the black women.
For sure.
Look, when it comes to like ethnicity or race, there's two things that always stick out. Oh man, my mama is funny. She said she'd what you call it? Disown me if I came back with a white girl. From there from there on out, like I'd be like, I love to play this game with my mom. I'd be like, Mom, so there's this white girl. No, Nick.
That's funny.
I just like use that line every once in a while.
Just tell her she's light skinned, Mom.
No,
red hair. I don't know.
Like,
it's some tribe in Nigeria.
That's kind of traumatized me, because I'm like, damn, I can't marry a white woman. Like, I just personally, like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how many times I've been dropped on the head, but like, personally, me, like, cool. I'll knock some boots with
the funniest
young lady, but like,
the funniest part about that is she's on the same page as that white girl's dad.
Exactly.
They'd probably get along great. They'd be like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want my daughter hanging around your son either."
My mom is like, I was like, Mom, she's not black. She's like, boy, leave the Mexicans alone. I don't want to deal with their fathers. And I'm like, damn, I can't do anything around here, huh? And so, I mean, I've actually like kind of grown into like being a lot more accepting outside of other people's perceptions other than my mom, because I'm not going to marry a white woman. I'm still not going to do that. But like, the thing is that I'm not going to let her stop me from enjoying my life and being like, hey, Mom, this is Sally. Mom, Sally, Mom. But you gotta get to like a very special point with me to meet Mom. You feel me?
For sure.
So I mean, 'tis life.
So that thing you put up there that I guess it was Natasha put up there about that article. I mean, that's true, and I guess that's part of where, like, maybe why I was fortunate enough to start off at 18 with my wife, who will be 25 years married this summer. Is Congrats. I was probably, I don't know, whatever, 12, 13, 14, whenever I started really like paying attention and like started to really notice girls that I was like thinking about, you know, and like attracted to in a way that not just like, oh yeah, she's pretty or something like that, but like where you wanted to start talking to chicks and start, you know, asking them to go to dances or whatever shit like that. It for me, it was always like wife/mother material, you know. And I guess if you think of it in those terms, it kind of helps out with some of that other stuff too, where like the sexual stuff. If you're thinking of this person as the mother of your future children or the future mother of your future children, then you kind of start off with that Trapper Keeper days. That's right. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like I had Trapper Keepers with a bump.
That's an old friend of mine who hopefully
yeah?
will be running as a Republican in Greene County, Indiana,
Oh,
one of these days.
Okay.
Old friend of mine who can tell you lots of stories. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, but I was always looking for wife and mother of my children material, and I was always thinking like my. It's gonna sound crazy. This is just how I am. I'm an old soul in a lot of ways. I would always imagine like, what is this person going to be like when we're 80 and we're sitting on the front porch in our rocking chairs watching our grandkids play in the yard? Am I going to want to be with this person, or am I going to like be like tired of them and like not have anything because at some point in your life that other shit kind of runs out and you're not in, like, I don't know, hot and steamy nights anymore, it's or they're fewer and farther in between. So you got to have something else for all those other hours that you live together and spend time together, and you better not hate each other when the sex stuff wears off, or isn't as where it can't be the focus of the whole weekend every week. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I was going with that. Anyway, what, Nicco?
One thing that I was talking to my cousin about a while back is that love is also tolerance. It's like how you tolerate somebody, and you guys' relationship with each other, because it's like he was making some examples, but he was like, well, do you tolerate your brothers? And I was like, yeah, I they get on my nerves, but he was like, you still love them, right? And I was trying to, like, I guess, argue that tolerance and love aren't on the same spectrum, but it is. It's like, ooh, and it's choice. Loving what you tolerate is choice. So it's like, what are you allowing to deal with? What can you allow yourself to compromise with this individual or work through or growth with, and throughout and through when it comes to relationships?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that so like Marcus, you said that it wasn't you didn't have a choice, that Amber just kind of landed on you, but like you still have, there's a choice that comes with some of the things that, like, there's some times where like I'm in love with my wife. I love my wife. Would never cheat on her. Would never, we're going to be together forever. That's just how it is. But I'm not going to lie. There's some times where I have to make a conscious choice to love her because she's a pain in the ass and I'm a pain in the ass too. And we don't, we butt heads a lot on some of this shit. And so like some of the time it's making a choice, not necessarily a choice to love them, but making a choice to make that love work to because there's effort and sacrifice and like prioritizing things in a way that you wouldn't if you were just purely acting selfishly in that different way.
For sure. And I think that the choice part comes in largely, at least it has for me, when you're in fighting mode. Because if you think you're going to not be with somebody and fight with them, if you're not fighting, you're probably not going to last.
Probably covering something up.
Right. If you're not fighting, then something's
you secretly
failing.
hate each other somewhere.
Right. But at that moment when you're fighting and you're like, I'm fucking sick of this shit, whatever that shit is. And I just fucking, right now, I don't fucking like you. And in your mind, this is how you can tell this relationship might be one that will work, is your brain goes, what about tomorrow? Are you going to want to wake up with her? Are you going to want her to take care of your kids tomorrow? Are you going to want her to fix you dinner? Are you going to want her to kiss you? Are you going to want to tell her you love her, even though you're still mad at her? And if the answer to that is yes, you still want her there, your brain will start having you go, okay, where did I fuck up?
Right.
What did I do?
Exactly. That introspection kicks in.
Right.
That self-awareness kicks in. That's right.
Right. And I want to add one more thing to what you were saying, and frankly, what Nicco and frankly what Chad was saying. They say scientifically that the pheromones that we put off last 7 years. And that's it. That's all they got. And I remember, because when Amber and I first got together, it was woo, it was a wild ride. She is one hell of a woman. But right, and so I remember approaching 7 years, and we're still just fucking like rabbits and fucking having all kinds of good times. And I remember thinking, fuck, we're coming up on 7 years. What happens when this shit goes away? What the fuck am I gonna do? I can't live without this woman. Fuck all that, But and to be clear, we've now been together for 13 years. And the biology, Chad's absolutely right. The biology matters. And you got to remember that when you're with somebody, when you're first starting your relationship, at least 75% of your relationship is biology. You're just trying to get your dick in her. That is the bottom line. I don't care how good of a person you are. I don't care if you're loving God with all your heart, going to church all the time. Can we get married in a month?
Yeah, but that's your hard wiring. That's your reproductive. I mean, that's the first commandment of God is be fruitful and multiply.
Right. But eventually, yes, Amber and I's relationship is based on our conversations that we had. And so, yes, it does build, and you need, but don't deny or look outside of that biology, and understand and use it to your advantage. I got 7 years to prove I'm worth a shit. So Nicco, you had something.
No, I was gonna say yeah, I'm sorry, all the lady audience members, I'm gonna piss y'all off. So what about it when you're right and you like she just don't want to admit that you're right? Like, how does that work, being the man? And like, because I know it happens and we have to apologize, but it's like, I don't want to be in a relationship where you don't fucking take accountability. What you trying to teach my kids? Like, we trying to be equal on the same lane.
Chad, you're muted. Chad, you're muted.
My bad. I thought I had unmuted myself. All right. So what did I tell you? 25 years almost I've been married. It was 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3, where I actually screenshot my wife texting me, "You were right." Because I was like, I think I'm going to print this and frame this bitch. You just have to learn to eat that it's going to be few and far between that you're going to win the I'm right and she's wrong argument. And you just have to kind of be like, you know what? Look, I'm not arguing with you. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. And that's it. And don't worry about the trying to prove her right or anything like that, because it doesn't really get you anywhere. And I still fucking argue too much with her. And that's on me. I'm stupid for doing that, but it is what it is.
I'm reading what. Oh, and by the way, Scott's name to me will be and always has been Gumby. That dude is Ben Gumby he's got false teeth and he's always been Gumby. That's who he is to me. So
take a knee and run out like fuck.
Yeah, right. But he's always been Gumby. He used to have this little red truck we called Pokey that wouldn't go up a hill. So I couldn't get that motherfucker up a hill, but I could take my little Cavalier up there. But anyhow, I digress. One thing I think that Chad and I's experience has been different. I have definitely been in the kind of relationship that Chad's talking about, where you rehearse the mantra, "You're right, honey. You're right, honey. You're right, honey," and just go on about your business. I have.
Oh no, I don't do that. I just keep arguing. I just keep arguing, and it goes nowhere.
Right.
That's all I do. And so I just at some point I'm just like, I'm doing this. And just deal with it, because sure. You're not gonna say that it's a good idea. I don't care anymore. So let's just go.
Right. And like I said, I've seen that. Now I do have advice. Well, my ex-wife was not a pleasant human being. And but she was yelling at me one time, and I knew, like Chad was kind of talking about, I wasn't gonna win that argument. Did not matter. At the end of the day, she was going to win. That's where it's at. That's how it was going to end. So I started off. We're at the beginning of the argument. She's madder than hell. I was like, okay, let me see. You're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I literally was like, okay, and
you probably didn't do it to yourself any favors.
Nope, that shit did not work at all. Like at all. She is madder than fuck. She hadn't had her fight yet. And so she was madder than fuck. But I
a lot of times they just need to talk. They just need to say shit, and that's all. You just have to be like, yeah, I'm listening. I'm not really listening, but I'm, yeah, oh yeah, like I'm kind of like Chris Rock. Like, I told you that bitch was crazy. She thinks she's cute.
but I cannot say how lucky I am. Out of in I'd say a year. Amber has told me more. You're right. I'm wrong. In a year than every woman I have, and I've been with lots of women. Every woman that was before Amber, every time they said, "You're right." Amber has said it more in the past year than all of the women I've ever been with, combined. So I am lucky in that way, but. Ultimately, one of the things I think people miss about arguments is kind of what we've been skipping around. Arguments aren't generally a real argument. You've got pent up bullshit that you've been sitting on for a month, and you're mad because a month ago you wanted to go do some shit, and she said, no, we're going with the kids to do this shit. And you're like, but I wanted to do that shit. And you're still pissed off about it a month later. And so you pick at her. Yeah, you always get your way, honey. And so she's like, what do you mean I always get my way? Last week you wanted fucking 3 beers and da 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 da. And so it becomes a fight. But it really wasn't based on whatever the fuck you were fighting about. My first wife and I broke up. This is God's honest truth. We broke up because she didn't clean the microwave enough, and my French fries got shit on them, and I couldn't eat them.
What?
That's why we broke up.
That's tough.
Now,
that's not really why we broke up.
Right. That was the straw that broke the camel's proverbial back. Yeah.
Right. Keep in mind, she was making me French fries.
Right.
So at the end of the day, relationships are hard. They're hard, and it takes a lot. You don't get where Chad's at. Frankly, you don't get where I'm at without making some compromises, without understanding the other person. And, when you're just starting off like you are, Nicco, when you're just getting out there, and I'd say you're getting out there at about the right time, being in your early 20s, you're 23 years old. This is the time you should be looking. This isn't the time you should be finding. This is the time you should be looking. I found and had 2 divorces. I found early. Don't find early. You want kids at like 28. You don't want kids at 22. And so this is the time, but everything you're doing right now is preparation. You're building wealth, you're building preparation, you're growing the fuck up, you're becoming the man that a woman will find. Women don't want long-term boys in their life. They may pretend like they do on TV, but they don't. They want men. They want men that protect them. They want men that provide for them. They want men that stand next to them. When they're having a bad day, my wife, I'm not going to get into what's going on. My wife had some issues last night. I sat down my fucking phone. I set down the shit that I was doing. And I said, okay, honey, tell me what is going on. What is your problem that you're having right now? You have my undivided attention. And I spent probably about a half an hour to an hour doing nothing but listening and advising my wife on an issue that she had. And that's the kind of devotion you have to have in a real relationship. And when you're young and just out playing, you're not going to get there. That's not going to happen. What Chad has and what I have is based on a long-term understanding of each other. And I know that where you're at right now, you want that. You want, the positive relationship where I wake up every day just happy as shit to look over and see the love of my life laying in bed next to me. You want that. I get it. I wanted that. I wanted that from the time that I could want girls. That's what I wanted. It took a very long time and a whole shit ton of pain to get there. And that's including the relationship with Amber. As much as it's been good, there has been issues. She's, I like to talk about her like she's perfect, because for me, she absolutely is. But she has issues. She goes through problems. She has things that she struggles with, just like all of the rest of us. And I've learned how to help her, how to be there for her, how to notice that all of this isn't about like what I get from it. I want to sit back and watch TV, smoke a joint, and be done. But she needed.
Yeah, but my wife wants me to stand up on the tile bathroom in my bare feet, my back hurting, and listen to her talk about her friends and how stupid they are for like 3 hours. And I'm like,
wait, how good is a great
story. This is a great story.
How good is your concentration phase? Do you show that you're like notably like?
Oh no, I definitely let on that I am like not. I'm tapped out and I'm like off somewhere else. And she's like, "What did I just say?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, because I've been standing here for 45 minutes and I just want to go. Can I go sit in the recliner and you can tell me this story?" Because at least then I'll be comfortable.
You piss her off right there, don't you?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. So like, this is what I wanted to kind of chime in with earlier when Marcus was talking about like fights and stuff like that. I actually think it's really, really healthy to have a good knockdown drag out every so often, because like that thing with the French fries that he was talking about, that's a symptom of a whole bunch of other shit getting buried under French fries. And the French fries unearthed the monster that had been born out of the goo and the muck that was underneath all this this hidden shit. I think letting that stuff kind of air itself out like keeps the sunlight and the oxygen getting to that stuff and kind of breathes some life into the parts of your like relationship with each other that need cultivation. Whereas if you're burying that stuff, that resentment sours and grows and festers, and you end up with like some really fucked up shit that comes out completely sideways later. And I'm not saying that stuff still doesn't happen, because there's still some things where you pick your battles, and so like you're like, you know what, it would be really, really hurtful if I said what I wanted to say right now, so I'm going to hold that one back. But then later on, like there's a point where something happens and something gets said to you that really pisses you off, and you're like, now's the time to bring out that hammer. And then you drop that hammer, and it's like, and then you feel like shit afterwards. But there's also that catharsis where part of you is like, but I got that. Now she knows. Now she knows that's out of there. I don't have to harbor it anymore. I don't have to like sit and live with it anymore by myself. So I think like having some of that stuff, airing that stuff out, actually is healthy and helps to make it to where like my wife and I, like there's some times where like we hate each other. Not like really hate each other, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're like
throw on some UFC
just
gloves.
Go somewhere else. I don't want to see you anymore. You know, that kind of shit. Like I don't want to look at you right now, kind of bullshit. But then like we come back and we know like where our anchor is. Like our foundation is in what we are together, what we're building together, why we love each other, and like knowing that I'm going to do what I need to do when she really needs me. And I'm going to do that better than anybody else can. And the same goes for her. She's going to do that for me. And that's the gem.
I feel you. No, I was going to ask though, like, so like in avoidance of an argument with you, would it be better to bring out that hammer and get it off your chest, or possibly start an argument by like, having a peaceful conversation. And either people take certain things certain type of ways, but you bring out that so-called hammer into like a nice format, and then it turns into a nuke, and you don't know. So is it best to deal with those situations while it's heated, or do you want to try and like do a Cold War option and just like
I think it ultimately ends up coming down to one of those things where like whatever you're dealing with at the moment, if there's enough emotion and like it's going to really hurt if you say that right now, it's probably not a good idea to like get it aired out right then. And then like later on there'll be something where like you're kind of getting beat on, and then you're like, okay, I don't even feel like I'm going to be hurting anybody if I do this, but this needs to be said. Bah! And that's where but like you don't want to throw like gasoline on the fire of like she's in some pain or she's dealing with some shit, or you already said something stupid that hurt her feelings, and you got to deal, because like we don't get to have feelings. We just have to like suck it up and keep it moving, and just kind of figure out how to like be like, look, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm like hurt and you're gonna make me cry or something like that. But this is some bullshit and you're not gonna do it anymore.
But, that shit is absolutely hilarious. How the fact that like we're supposed to be emotionless, but guys are technically more emotional because we don't deal with our emotions on a 24/7, opposed to women dealing with it for 24/7. Like we have to be non-emotional. We're like a double entendre, like we're a contradiction to ourselves, like in this whole spectrum of things, where it's like I have to be stoic. Oh, you just said some really foul and putrid shit, but I'm gonna act like it didn't hurt, so I'm gonna just keep being a man and walk the other way.
Yeah, well, you can be like, yo, that's bullshit. You know, like that ain't fair. You can't say that shit to me. Like that's insulting, and that's bullshit. You can say that, but you're not gonna, what you have to do though, it's incumbent upon us as men to not go into the emotional. And that's why holding back on that thing where it's like, look, I could really, really hurt you right now. I could say something that, and like throw a dagger, but I'm going to reserve myself, and I'm going to be a cooler head. Yeah. I'm going to be a cooler head. And I'm not saying I always do it. Like I don't always have perfect control over my emotions, but I'm working on it. I'm working on getting better every day on that stuff. But the thing you have to be careful of is not letting that stuff become the sort of thing where you're like, you know what, I don't care what this does to that person because I'm hurt, and so therefore I need to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's one thing if you're saying like, hey, look, when you did this was not cool. Please don't do that again. It's another thing altogether to be like, I don't know, to like throw it at them as though it's like a weapon.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's the thing. So,
and the thing is, back to kind of the idea you were talking about men and the expectations of men. It reminded me of several years ago, and I'm guessing this is like maybe, I don't know, like 8-9 years ago. We had a men's group that we got together here and there. And because I had a spiritual group that was working together, and actually Scott, who's in the comments, was part of this. And we got together and talked about being men, and the women were busy talking about being women.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we had a guy that was a member of our group named Bailey. He was a big redneck. He was a great guy, but he said, I'm supposed to like love cars. I'm supposed to be all into sports, and I'm supposed to, be all of these things. I'm not supposed to have feelings. I'm not supposed to do all that. I think the expectation on men in relationships is way too high. And, the societal norms are bullshit. And, yes, generally men should be wanting to be a father when they have children. They should be wanting to be a provider and a protector for women. I really believe that. I have those kinds of conservative values, but we cannot fit a mold. We do not fit into, I don't give a shit about sports. There isn't, there isn't anything wrong with, like, for instance, Chad, who loves sports. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Well,
I
thank you,
don't,
Marcus.
right. But I don't give a shit about them. I think about certain, ideas. I get into philosophy. Those are the kinds of things that my brain is moving towards. And that doesn't make me less of a man. In fact, because I say fuck your rules and do what works best for me, I think that makes me more of a man. So, Nicco, I think that one of the things that you should do as a man at your age, and when you're dealing with dating, is throw all the rule books beside you. That includes what Chad and I are saying. You have to find what works for you. Now you can take advice, and it's a good idea to look around at not only Chad and I, but other people in your life. Your parents will have some ideas. I get that your parents didn't always do the right thing either, but I learned a lot of my shit from making mistakes. I did a lot of stupid things. I don't have 2 ex-wives because I was an angel and they were bitches. I have 2 ex-wives because I was an asshole and I was hard to live with, and I was driven, and they weren't part of it. And so, you have to find what works for you. And that woman that you find will be all the better for it. The more you figure out what Nicco needs in a woman, the more when somebody comes along and fits the bill, oh my God, think about that.
Recognize it. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, this would be a great time to interrupt, because if y'all want to help fund
to get your money up
to Dubai for Nick, and possibly set me up with the wife out
get
there,
an arranged marriage out there,
$5 for a Patreon. We'll take $250 starting for a plane ticket.
We take women for
Thank
Nicco. Nicco, women in
the Nicco's Cash App is down at the bottom.
And all my social medias, they down below. If you want to hit my line, you want to partake. No, I'm just kidding. But $5 for the Patreon.
That's right.
Love.
That's right.
Shouts out to everybody that's here. And for the replays, much love. Go love on somebody. Go show them some real love, and not that bullshit 30-minute cheap paper bag love. Like, go show them some real genuine love. And don't rush things. If you're single out there, don't rush it. Valentine's Day is a floozy game, and they just want your money. Don't get hurt because you didn't have a Valentine. You can love yourself every day of the week and be your own Valentine. But you could really be. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, pause that. But don't pause this $5 that you want to throw to me, because $5 would be love right now.
But
two shares.
So look, Nicco, before we started the show, you told us what kind of day it was today, numerology wise and everything else wise. And I wanted to. You said it was an 11 day, and that meant we were going to have some issues with technology. I had some issues with technology, so I wanted to show that this was. Everybody probably heard the buzzing when we started the show, but so I finally got this damn thing off of there. So yesterday I printed this thing. It was very adorable, cute. Let's see if I can get it where you can actually see it.
Oh, really close.
It's a puppy. First. Yeah, I'm trying to get to where it's. Yeah,
there you go.
Is that Simba?
No, it's just a puppy.
Like a puppy.
It's a puppy dog. Anyway, so there's that. Then I ran out of filament when I tried to print another one, and so I only have half of a dog. And then I didn't realize, so I was having some mad trouble. This is the other one that I tried to print, and it's terrible. Like, it's like
you chopped its head off.
Look at that. Yeah, well, because I stopped it because look how terrible that print is. Yeah. Anyway, so I was having some trouble. I was struggling. I was kind of mad, and anyway, I got it fixed. And so then I made this for my son. He wanted this. This is Dwayne the Croc Johnson. And awesome. And then I just finished this one. North side all the way, Nicco.
You live in Louisiana, dog. Like, if anything, you're much closer to the south side. Coming to Chicago, you're much closer to the south side coming to Chicago than you are the north side. I don't care.
Anyway, so I got the 3D printer rocking. If you're interested in some 3D printed, and by the way, shout out to our friend in the Patreon chat. That's what brought the whole thing to my mind was Daryl, the agorist prepper, RIP to all his social medias because he just quit all that stuff.
He's a smart man.
But yeah, he is. He's a very smart man, and he actually helped me find this 3D printer and actually like get it to where like it's printing like it's supposed to be. I'm not going to say the things that I plan on printing with this, but they're going to be some fun things. Things like Dwayne the Croc Johnson and such. But anyway, some other fun things.
Did he bribe you for that? Like, how did this come about? Like, I need.
No, I mean, that was like, so we're testing stuff because I want to see, I'm trying to test the calibration because like my wife is like, this is one of the things. So this is one of the things we kind of had a fight about. She's like, you spent all this time up there with your toy. I'm like, it's not. All right, look, I know I'm dicking around with it right now. Like it's a toy, but like I have like much higher aspirations for what this thing is going to do than just making some fucking, oh, you bitch. Hang on. Let me, I'm sorry. That's not how I talk to my wife. That was this bot that I was trying to delete. But no. So I have higher aspirations for what I'm going to do with this 3D printer beyond just toys and shit like that. But that was my way of, because these things take a very short amount of time to print, maybe a couple hours or something like that. And so I get to see like, all right, so if I were, say going to print parts for something, now I know that it's good to print high quality parts. And this thing is like, it's not bullshit. Like it's heavy duty stuff. So anyway, it didn't actually cost that much. Like the filament is like, I don't know, under $20 a spool for like a whole kilogram. And that was like 20 grams worth in this right here. So this is not, it's actually pretty hard, pause, but it's not, it's like super light. Like it's light as a feather, but anyway, it's kind of cool. So anyway, that's that, but shout out to Daryl for kind of putting me on game with that, because that's been big. And I actually have some plans for like some really cool stuff. We maybe have some Aquarian Anarchy bobbleheads that we might be able to put together for y'all. We'll have to get me and me and Nicco and Marcus's faces wrapped around like
together.
Is it recyclable? Yes. Like so the thing is, what you would have to do. That's actually a really good question, Dutch. I want to look into what it would take to melt like this piggy bank that didn't work, melt this thing down, and then turn it into filament strands that I can spool. Because as of right now, I'm just buying filament and then going the other way with it. But yeah, that's ideally that would be great, because the other thing is what I've been thinking of is, wouldn't it be badass if we could take all this plastic that we use on a daily basis, plastic bottles, plastic forks, knives, spoons at restaurants, and all this shit, all the plastic that gets thrown away, if we could take that and recycle it into filament and 3D print shit with it. It's really cool way to go. So
for sure. And a 3D printer, I don't know that it's in my future, but if if certain things worked in my favor, it might be, but
it's very affordable. The thing was like $230.
I realize.
And the filament's like, like I said, it's like $15 a spool, $16.
How much is the software? Does it come with
free.
its own software? Oh, it's free.
Yeah, like, well, it comes with like a little, you have to put like an SD card, and so like you do the, but there's free slicing software, and like you can go get files like this thing was free. The blueprint for it was free. All I had to do was put it in the slicer, which was also free, and then spit it out to the little thumb drive and stick it in there. Sorry, Marcus, go ahead. You were saying you don't know if it's in your future or not, but
right, but it's certainly something that someone could put into their, I mean, just imagine like with our gardening stuff, we could be 3D printing, anything from garden tools to like, even like pots and shit like that we could put stuff in. So I think that it might be something that I don't see as a necessity right now, but I do think that it is a good thing to have, for sure. And definitely with those items that we will remain nameless, that definitely keeps us free. But to kind of come back to the subject at hand, discussion. most people that watch us largely watch us for our commentary on political things, I would think, or maybe our
Spirituality,
spiritual
yeah.
ideas and those kinds of things. Love is the linchpin to all of that. And to kind of pivot this conversation about finding love, which again, Nicco, I think that largely keep doing the shit you're doing. I know that patients are.
We're gonna get that ticket real soon,
Sure.
everybody.
Woo. Sure, but ultimately, love needs to be what we base everything on. The people in that are in control of our world right now base everything they do on fear. They base it on violence. They base it on aggression. And people say anarchy won't work or self-government won't work. Okay, if working means violence, if working means being afraid all the time, I guess I don't want it to work.
Here's one that's funny for me. I've heard, because I heard Tim Pool say this when Hotep Jesus was on there about this grocery cart BS thing, where they say like, this is why an anarchist society wouldn't work, is because people can't be like, that's not in anarchy. First of all, this is in a state society that people don't put their grocery cart up. And like, that's not like, this isn't something where like everything has to be like, people get it twisted where they think when we talk about like voluntarism or voluntarism and voluntary exchange being the basis for society, they think that means that everybody has to volunteer to do everything for free. Like, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you not telling me you're going to murder me or throw me in a cage if I don't do what you want me to do. That means that my action is voluntary, but it doesn't mean that I'm just doing it for free. I'm voluntarily saying, hey, Marcus, I will make you a Cubs World Series 2016 championship little piece of plastic if you give me a yacht. Now, you would say no, because that's a terrible transaction, because you don't give a fuck about sports, and a yacht is way more valuable than that, and you don't have one, right? But like, we did something where it's like, like, hey, look, I do chickens, and you're like, cool, I don't do chickens, but pause. But I have a garden. I can give you some vegetables. Like, oh, great. How about I give you a chicken and you give me, a dozen tomatoes and like, however many ears of corn. Like, okay, cool. We have a transaction. It's voluntary because nobody said, if you don't take this chicken for those tomatoes and that corn, I'm going to throw you in a cage. That's how it's voluntary. So when I start, backing this stuff out to like, will this thing work or whatever, like, all of the arguments that typically get brought up about whether an anarchist society would work or not are these really retarded throwbacks to the state, where they're like describing the state, stuff that happens with a state, saying you can't prevent this stuff without a state. Well, apparently you can't prevent it with a state either. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I think that, I'm going to real quick look it up, but Emma Goldman handles this perfectly in a quote. Give me just a moment. But you're absolutely right that the state does all this shit. It is not, this isn't, where you get to choose between them. The difference is, when you don't have a state guaranteeing that violence is going to happen, you might actually get the chance to not have violence. You might still have violence. Anarchy and anarchist ideas and the ideas of freedom do not promise that everything is going to be hunky-dory. We do not make those kinds of promises. We do not make promises that we don't keep. That's what makes us different than the state. The state.
Emma Goldman said hunky-dory?
No, she didn't. I'm fucking with you. I'm still looking for the quote.
I know you are. But it looked like you were reading when you said that. I'm trying to imagine Emma Goldman writing hunky-dory.
She is like the anti-hunky-dory, just to be clear.
Right.
So I'm going to continue looking for that quote. So basically, what and I'll come back to it, but I'll kind of leave you guys to look for it for a second. But when you base your society on love, then you are more likely to get love. And so all we're proposing is peace, love, and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all we're saying. And that starts by, first of all, loving yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to take care of yourself. Sure, I got shit that I fucking despise about myself. But ultimately, you have to take care of yourself. You have to do what's best for you. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Second thing you've got to do is you've got to love your family, love your wife, find that person, then develop a family based on it. Then you can take that family model that works. Yes, there are fucked up families out there. I get it. There are fucked up societies out there. And an awful lot of the reason is because they stopped devoting themselves to love. So once you move that to a community level, then those communities can move that love to a global level. So, but we have to try. In my opinion, these assholes that are like, all right, might not work, so we don't want to try it. We don't want to try peace, love, and freedom. We're going to go ahead and move forward with shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question though. So like, how are you guys having, like, I guess, the relationship talks with your kids in this day and age? I mean, girl, granted, Marcus, you only have Anya, or not Anya.
Yeah,
right?
Anya's the only one living in the
right,
house.
Anya, but like for you, Chad, they're all around the corner. So like,
yeah. So with my daughter, she's been dating the same guy for 2 years, a little over 2 years now, and before they started dating, or they may have been dating for like a week or two or something like that. I made him give me a 15-page PowerPoint presentation on why he was worthy of dating my daughter.
Oh, you sized them up with with papers.
I don't fuck around.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing: I expect that same sort of effort and initiative and everything from my boys. And the other thing that I'm telling my boys right now, and like my oldest one kind of figured it out, because he kind of got himself hemmed up with some like distraction a couple of summers ago with a girl, where it was the summer of pandemia, where but anyway, he just spent way too much time on the phone with this girl and everything else, and he's like,
he got friend zoned.
It just didn't work out with him. But the thing is, like, he looked at like how much time he had wasted with that, and and what other things it had kept him from, and he was like, never again, I'm not letting that. And so like he's in like, I'm gonna build me, I'm gonna do what's important to me, and I'm not letting some girl take me off my square. So that part, I don't even really need to. We have our discussions, but like we've had like these little discussions all along the way. And the other thing is too, like I think he sees what goes on at home. I think it's really, I don't know, it's really vital and helpful. Oh, look here, he just walked in the room. There's your croc. He's stunned. He's focused on the important things, like Dwayne the Croc Johnson. How's your toe, by the way?
Horrible.
It really? Okay. Well, go ice it or something. He jammed his toe playing basketball, but their season, they had their last game on Friday, but he was playing pickup today and he hurt himself. But anyway, the thing around girls and everything is, it's just the same thing that we were talking with you about. You can't put yourself in a situation where you are going to potentially make people with someone who you don't need to be making people with. Mm-hmm. And when you start there, back to what Natasha said about Hotep Jesus saying, look for mother material, not wife material. It's pretty critical, because ultimately that's the whole purpose for this stuff. And what I was going to say when Marcus was talking about how messed up the world is and all this, and where things are going and where things have been society wise, I think we're kind of in like this idiocracy model where all the good people, all the intelligent people are like, I don't want to bring a kid into this world. It's like, you're making the world worse.
For sure.
Because the future needs to be all of us outbreeding all those morons who are like ruining people's lives and using force and violence and fraud and everything else. And instead, we need to be outbreeding the statists, the psychopaths, the sociopaths, and the people who are just too gullible to not fall for all this bullshit. We need to outbreed them so that we can actually create a society full of people who know what the fuck to do with their lives.
So, yeah, I agree completely, Chad. And, from somebody, I've only, compared to Chad, I'm about a decade less in marriage, but I do have 4 kids. And those 4 kids wound up all right. Yes, Anya's 12, so she's young, but I have 3 kids over 18. And now Nathan is kind of in your boat. And frankly, Nicco, I think if you ever met Nathan, you and him would become very good friends very quickly. But with my 2 oldest kids, Brianna's a lesbian, but she has been in that relationship for, I'm thinking 10 years, 9 years. So she has been in a stable relationship where she is a mother figure to a child, because Jessie, her wife, came in with a child. And so she has been a mother to that child the entire time they've been together. This hasn't been hard, for sure, but they have a stable relationship. And nothing against the gay community or whatever, but that's not that common. There are within the gay community, they tend to have shorter relationships. You can make whatever reasons that is, but she has it. Now, my older son has only been married for a few years. I think he's been married for about 3 years now. But their relationship, sure, when they have issues, they give us a call and ask for advice. Katie, who's a wonderful woman that my son Raven married, has called my wife when our son, and which is actually my wife's stepson, but he would say that she's the best mom he's ever had. His wife, when he's having problems, calls my wife to ask for advice, and that's uncomfortable as shit. But it is what they do. But they have a stable, good relationship. We teach our kids how to have a relationship. We do it. I hope that my relationship with Amber has given my daughter, my youngest daughter, because the only mother she's ever known, because she is Amber's daughter, Anya, is our relationship. And I hope that what her goals are to have what we have. And so we do teach our kids, whether we sit them down or not and say, this is what it is, that doesn't matter. They
hear the conversations you have. Yeah, they hear the conversations you have in the kitchen and everything else. They know what's up.
Right. And I did find that quote. I want to kind of go back to that real quick. This is Emma Goldman talking about law. And what we were talking about at the time when I thought of this quote was the way that the state tries to portray that, anarchy would be awful. This is her commenting on law. She says, the most absurd apology for authority and law is that they serve to diminish crime. Aside from the fact that the state is itself the greatest criminal, breaking every written and natural law, stealing in the form of taxes, killing in the form of war and capital punishment, it has come to an absolute standstill in coping with crime. It has failed utterly to destroy or even minimize the horrible scourge of its own creation. And I think that last part is the best part of that, because most of the crimes that we see were created by the state.
So I wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit.
Sure.
And I wanted to pick Nico's brain because Marcus, you and I have something in common in that we are old and we come from an era bygone where shit ain't like that anymore. I feel like what's his face? Oh shit, I put my face back up there again. My bad. But shit ain't like that anymore. And so I want to get Nico's perspective on like what he's seeing out in these skirt chasing streets. Yeah. And like what have you learned? What have you learned on of like your own game for like how to and what and what you would tell, like what are you telling your brothers? What are you telling your nephews, your cousins, and your friends and stuff like that to kind of keep them out of trouble?
Oh man, I have one right now. His name is Matthew. A little bit of Jalen, but Matthew, man, this little nigga, I love him. He's the spitting example of like he has like all the arrogant cockiness in the world to like be that guy and just like be able to pull anybody he would like, any girl, just based off his persona, his like individuality. I'm like, Matthew, please slow down. Like, I need you to focus on stuff that you like. I told his ass immediately, hone in on your work. Now, what I will also do is tell them to like shoot your shot and build your confidence. Like, don't be recluse, and don't allow the fact that you have obligations in front of you be the reason, or don't let the fact that you have obligations in front of you be the reason why you can't have fun and still be young and grow. I also tell them to like stop worrying about adult things. Like keep your little ass to your little ass self. Like stop worrying about adult things, because if you know nothing, my oldest sister got here when my mom was 16. So it's like my mom had the kid when she was super young. And then my brother was at 28 and I was at 32. Get your shit in order. That's like one thing that I tell them first and primarily is like, look, I know it's super difficult right now because you're raging through with hormones and you would love to like just shoot your shot at every girl and oh, she's so pretty, this, that, and the third. Nope, shut that shit down right now. I need you guys to go play the piano for like 15 minutes. Like go use that frustrated pent up energy into something creative. Like go do something productive with your life. Right now in these streaks, it's difficult. Like you can't really like say that I want a saint right now or like for a wife and then like expect that you're going to get one in this hyperly sexualized generation. Like that's just not how it is. You're more than likely like the girl that you see on Twitter or something like that and you think she's a like angel. There's more than likely of a chance that there's some kind of picture out there floating around because how easy it is to like show yourself and like, oh, it's just the picture, so I'll be able to send it out, this, that, and the third. So like, the ideology behind that is weird. And then wait, let's talk about another thing. So like, say for example, for like these dating apps, you try and like meet somebody, and they're like, you just messaged me? We're not going to meet. Like, I don't know you.
Then why are you on a fucking app?
I'm like, wait, we have to text in order for me to get to know you. But if this was a cold approach somewhere at Starbucks and I bought you a drink, the meeting already occurred. So
right. We're already linked up.
So like, what's the difference between me trying to buy you a drink of coffee like right now, opposed to me doing it in a shop without technology? Oh, right, the technology factor. You want to get comfortable with me. And it's like, okay, I understand you want to get comfortable. And there's like variables behind that and things of that nature. But it's like, you're contradicting yourself, love. Like, where is this going? There's a lot of contradicting things like in the day. Like, for example, if I have an iPhone iPhones. And there's a certain set of this generation of girls that be like, oh, you just sent me a green bubble? Bye. And like most definitely won't text you back anymore
because you don't have an iPhone.
Yes, because
even though
you
you
don't have
do,
an
but
iPhone.
it had but wait, did you say you do or you don't?
I have an iPhone, but if you don't have an
you're
iPhone,
saying they won't say that to people who don't.
and you send a green bubble, they hit you with that quick X.
That's awesome.
And you're like, damn, like the conversation was getting really good.
Oh god.
Oh, like you have to take in consideration. It's like the dating game is so interesting because now girls sit down and watch Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, and you know they interpret their relationship and put it into their reality mind front of this is how things should go. So relationships have been very skewed, but I still have hope. I have a lot of hope and faith, because there's the golden nuggets of every single community. It's just it takes time. And the thing is like being able to have that dialogue with somebody who's kind of tapped in to the matrix instead of like zoomed out it's kind of funny how like you see the conversation steers because it only stays on one specific lane. Like it doesn't hop out, and it doesn't like if there's an individual who can like change lanes with conversation or apply the multitude of layers of life, whatever you want to call it, to the conversation, then you know there's like hope. There's hope for that relationship and the conversation. But it's this is why I keep to myself. I attempt in all my efforts to keep to myself because it's like right now I've had my father who's had popped out like 7. No, wait, I'm part of 10, 9, 9, or whatever. Like I'm like,
bro, you didn't know it was 7 or 10.
Look. I've had a long night last night.
You gotta pay attention to your family, man.
No, I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's see. I go down the list every time. Like, I either add too many family members, my brother. I just lived with your ass, or like. So it's like I got LaShawn, Mark, me, Jalen, William, Matthew, Edward, Caleb, Lisa. Caleb.
You know, you got an issue when you got to take the fingers out to figure out how many sisters you got.
And so like actually like having a conversation with my father and like going more in depth about certain things about like, damn nigga, I just wanted you to be a proper father so I could be a real man out here, but like now I have to like put certain stepping stones in order for me to like get to where you were at this life point and consider myself a man, because my age and his age and the two time periods of what men consider men are two different variables at this point in time. Like back in the day when he went to go shoot a shot, him and his boys would go to a mall and you would mingle in person at a mall. Opposed to now you can meet at a mall, but like nobody really does that. Like everybody
you had your little meeting spots. It was like the mall, the skating rink, the arcade, like you know, like there were these little spots that you or like you know, you wouldn't even watch the football game on Friday night. Everybody would just kind of congregate,
just like pull up to the football game
stand in one of the ends, behind one of the end zones or something like that. Just at the football game, you start, you know, shooting shots and sometimes it was like. Yo, you know so and so? Ask her if she's into me before I go shoot this shot. You know, like there was some of that stuff where you get somebody to do some reconnaissance for you.
Yeah, so it's and like now it's like super ambiguous. Like, oh, what do I like? Well, I like video. You can't say certain things. Like that's another thing about this dating spectrum. Like, oh my god. It's gotten so political. It's disgusting. Like it's gotten very political in the dating scene. I'm just like, I just want to know you for you. And like, we could talk about politics another time. Like we could talk about like how we believe that we should grow up and how certain things should move. But that we can get there. Like that takes time. When it's kind of difficult not to bring up politics nowadays now? Like that's the hot button. That's like kind of a go-to. Granted, what you do in a conversation.
Yeah, everything's so hyper polarized that it's almost like it comes up every time.
That's awful. Yeah, what's funny is I thought Amber was a green. I did. She was more anarchist than I have ever been. But
my wife voted for HW when we were 18 in 92. And I voted for Bill Clinton. And the craziest part about it is my dad's over there voting for Ross Perot. He's the only one in his fucking right mind, and he was a boomer. You know, like what the fuck? Like how did I mess that up? Anyway.
Yeah, so like politics is another interesting take on it. Besides like me, or like if you don't have an iPhone, if you're not a part of the like 10% of men out here, you're getting basically not a lot of looks unless you're a confident individual. But like there's a lot of factors of like dating right now. I mean, granted, it's not like it didn't go back in, but I'm fairly sure that like you guys provided a different sense of security back like in the day opposed to now. There's only the sense of security of, oh yeah, well, does he have a bag? Does he have a car? Is he above 6 foot? What? And he has his own car, or not car, house, and like his stability is more prevalent. But like you guys could get fired back in the day and go get a job tomorrow. Like now, getting a job and like staying funneled in relationships, it's taxing. Like it's very, very taxing.
Dude, I don't envy you. I at all. Like I get like with COVID happening, our friend Michael started dating during COVID. And I'm like, I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine how that could happen.
Unless you met him at an anti-vax rally or something like that.
Right.
It's like
I can't
anti-mask rally.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, think about it. How the fuck? The bottom line is I'm lucky again to have Amber, because who the fuck would date my ass at this point? I'm an occultist and an anarchist.
Yeah, that's difficult as well. I mean, yeah, no, there's plenty, nice. And that's actually what I do appreciate about this day and age is like it's kind of simplified. You got your jocks, your emos, your animal pacifists, whatever, this, that, and the third. Like you got your sections, and all you got to do is just like go to that little community and be like, oh wow, I really like your art. Let me hit you with the DM here.
Marcus, get your boy.
I know he's telling the truth, man.
Does he have the plug or does he not have the plug?
No, the sad thing is, the thing is, Scott is like the straight friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like Scott's like you. Frankly, Chad, you and Scott get along really well. Because
we're both squares.
No, because you have similar backgrounds, and actually you remind me of Scott quite a lot. And I hope that I actually advised Scott to not run in the LP because he kind of would like to win an election. So so I said be a Liberty Republican because then you have a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's right. The fucking Greene County, oh my God, because that's where he lives. He lives in southern Indiana. I cannot.
You pulled it up the same time as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facts. That's how it is right now. And my son said, he said, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish your point, Marcus.
No, I don't know how I tried to get this motherfucker to come up to Indianapolis where he might be able to find some pussy. Not going to find it coming to one of our things because everybody's either hooked up or gay. but at the end of the day,
he is your straight friend, you know.
Right, he is my straight friend, and he is about as straight as they come, dude.
Super straight.
Right.
Wear the orange sticker for.
All right, we're branded now. Like we're branded like cattle. Like
I don't
are
care.
We like the semi straight or like the super straight? I'm like,
I wear the super straight proudly.
Like
yeah,
I.
He and Natasha should hook up. That's who she. Hey, Natasha, Scott's single and he's a good dude.
Scott.
Oh, is he about to love fashion?
Be careful. Natasha, she got a mouth on her.
Hey, there's a good thing.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, right.
Hey, stop digging.
You're married.
Stop digging. Stop digging. Stop digging. Stop digging.
Oh shit, my bad, Natasha. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, Natasha. I meant she talks shit to you, man. She'd be like, I don't like. You might not have a chance in a fight with Natasha. She'll probably drag you from one end of the room to the other one.
I'm gonna leave that where it's at.
That was Aquarian Anarchy, everybody.
Oh shit!
My next, I'm gonna make the
Notice
thing
the
when
slot's silent now.
the thing when you leave. Look, we got to do one. If we ever get all three of us together, eventually. We got to do one where it's all three of us and we're all just doing this, and that'll be the screen that goes up whenever you got to bounce. It's just like
right, right.
Feel like that dude on that GIF where he just goes and then he disappears.
That was tough. That was tough.
Earlier when Nicco was talking, I thought of a story that I had that I want to tell because it's a dating experience, but I want to tell it.
She have a mouth on her.
She had a mouth on her, dude. She had a belly on her, is what it was. But I got to tell this story because Nicco was talking about, like phone dating. Like back in when I was dating, not a lot of phone dating. When I first, after my second marriage, and this is way before Amber came into the picture, I decided to do a little bit of phone dating, and I thought that would be a good, thing to do. You know what I mean? I thought because at least it would build up my self-confidence, which it did. This is the only date I got from phone dating. Okay. I got to tell you this. So I find this girl that's near me. Right. And she looks all right. I've looked at the picture, talked to her a little bit on the text or whatever. I'd paid for a subscription to some shit. And anyway, she lives near me within miles. So I go pick this chick up. I'm in a Cavalier, dude, a little bitty Cavalier, Chevy Cavalier car, right? I pull up into her driveway. I have no idea where she got the picture, but it must have been shortly before she ate her previous date because this chick was enormous. She was every bit. Yeah, she was every bit, dude, of 400 to 500 pounds. Just a big girl.
Well, you went on Springer?
Dude, this was awful. But I'm trying, I've said I'm going to date this girl. I don't want to be like, oh, never mind. Yes, Gummy, this is the two-steak girl. Don't fuck it up. So anyhow, I pick her up. She gets in the car. Her belly is on my dash. She has filled the entire fucking passenger side of my car. The car went, I'm like, and I am not a small person. I am not a small person. So this girl gets in. I'm trying to not be shallow. I'm trying to be okay, but she may be sweet as hell, so I'm driving. She doesn't talk to me. We're going to Terre Haute, which is about an hour and a half drive from where I live. So we're driving to Terre Haute. She doesn't say a word to me. She gets on her phone. She's like, I'm on a date. I'm like, oh shit. So I take her to this steak place.
Wait, right? She was celebrating?
Yes, on the phone.
That's a red flag. Red flag. You should have stopped the car.
I got one.
Right. Oh, and I'm sitting next to her. I understand that if she went to the bathroom when she gets to the place or something, bragging to her friends. I get that. Because, big girl needs love. I get it. So we get into this place. First of all, when I'm walking up to the, the little receptionist person, they're looking at me like this. Like one of these
Marcus out here slump busting.
Oh, it was bad. But I'm trying to be, I'm trying to not be shallow. That she might be cool. So we sit down at the thing, and I'm getting ready to order. I ordered what you usually order. I ordered like a salad and a steak with a side, right? So she's looking over the menu, and you know how usually on the first date you try to impress, right? So like a lot of times girls will just order like chicken or a salad or some shit like that. Oh no, she gets herself like a regular size steak, right? Like I don't remember, it was like a 12 ounce sirloin or some shit like that, right? She orders that. And so I'm like, okay, that's not no big deal. We ordered an appetizer just to be no, I take that back. We did not order an appetizer. And I was like, do you want an appetizer?
That sirloin was her appetizer.
Right. She asked the person, can I get 2 steaks? She said, on it, can I get 2 steaks? First date. Can I get 2 steaks? Right. So let's start with, I picked this chick up at 4 in the afternoons when I picked her up to have dinner at 5. I was back in my living room at 7. It's an hour drive. We fucking 8 got the fuck out of there. She said nothing to me. We get to her house and she says, do you want to come in? I'm like, nah, it'd be all right. She has said a total of 10 words to me the entire time.
She showed you how she likes to gobble meat, Marcus.
Right, she did too. My God, just to put it on. I mean, she's got the bread out.
Please tell me y'all at least went Dutch. I know you're a gentleman.
No, I paid for it. It was, dude,
3 steaks on the bill.
Yes, it cost me
the best story ever.
Of money.
It's the best story ever.
Of money. So anyway,
I got one. Mine's a little happier ending. Wait, pause. Not that. Anyway.
Oh my God.
So, all right. So check it out. Check it out. This is so just to show you, like, this is you got grifted for steak. All right. So check this out. This is my wife is stone cold. She's amazing. So we were just friends at this point. All right. And we had been going out, like it was like my wife and her best friend from high school and me and like a mutual friend where like he was a friend of both of ours from grade school. It's kind of crazy. Like he and I went to school from like 1st grade through 6th grade. And then she didn't come to our school until 6th grade. And so like we kind of like crossed paths, but never actually met until college. So anyway, so we had this calculus class together. That's our first class. We just got thrown into it. I had scheduled for a different class and somehow ended up in that one. Well, anyway, one day I'll tell you all the whole story of like how like this is like meant to be that we are together. But anyway, we go out, clubbing and everything as a group, like as a foursome, like every weekend. And we're just going out because that way, like we all have fun and like we don't need to meet anybody necessarily, but we're open, like we're looking, we're checking people out and everything. Well, anyway, I meet this girl. She's got gorgeous blue eyes, and we set things up. We exchange numbers and everything. We set it up. We're gonna go out on a date the next weekend. So we're at class all week. It's a 5-hour class, so like we have an hour a day every day. And my wife, who's just my friend at the time, is like, "Hey, when's your date?" And I'm like, "It's Friday night, whatever." She goes, "Look, she's like, I need to trim like your neckline and everything. I need to take, get you nice and tightened up." So I'm like, "All right, bet. That sounds great. Thanks." So she comes over to my dorm. She shaves, trims my neckline and everything, makes me look all nice and proper and everything. And looking sexy as hell too. Got like a baseball cap on and everything. And I'm like I'm looking at her. I like her, but like we're just friends. So I go out on this date with this girl, and we go out, do our thing, have dinner and everything. And I go to like kiss her, and like she's got stubble. And I was like, right, we're 18. We're 18. Like you already like, and it was like she probably had a rougher mustache than I did at that point. And I was like, this ain't right. Something's wrong here. She's gorgeous, beautiful girl, beautiful blue eyes. But like, I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, this may be a bridge too far. So, we go about I kissed her and everything and, whatever, but we didn't go any further. Than that.
Imagine what would happen then.
Our relationship ended after that date. That was the end of the relationship. So the next day, I show up at class, and we're standing outside waiting for the class that's before us to let out so that we can go into our room, our calculus class. And my wife, not my wife then, she's just my friend, remember? There's another dude who's in the class. We've been in this class for like 2 months already. All right. So we all know each other. It's like 20 people in the class. It's a very small calculus class, for college standards anyway. We're standing there outside the door. My wife comes in. She walks into the building. She goes, "So how was the punani last night?" That dude just like, he goes, "Okay," takes off. He just takes off walking away. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck y'all do? This is some weird ass relationship y'all got." But damn, okay. And I was like, no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Why would you do that? Why would you put me out like that? Anyway, so that's my wife. Now we're married. Have been for almost 25 years. But that's kind of how it started. It kind of reminds me of the there's like an Usher song that kind of speaks to this, when I go home at night, I lay my head down and all I seemed to think about was you. That was like me and her. Like I was just like, I was going out with other chicks and I was still thinking about her. So anyway, but that's why, because she was stone cold.
Whenever
man.
you get somebody to line the back of your neck up for a date, it's because she wants you to go out there looking fine.
I just said she should have lined up her gear. I just saw that.
She don't want her man's going out looking like a bum. So,
right. Yeah, for sure. You're
you
right.
feel me?
Nicco.
Yeah.
And
that's how you know she was a keeper right away.
Yeah.
Because she hooked you up.
Although, I gotta say, your story reminded me of this one's a short story. Your story reminded me of another story. All right, so I worked for a furniture company for years, and the guys that install furniture together are a lot like construction workers. You know how you just kind of pal around and it becomes kind of, you tease each other and all this.
Yeah, you shoot the shit and all that fun stuff.
Right. Imagine that environment after this story. I was not at this particular event, but I know absolutely every detail. So this guy named Steve, I'm not going to give his last name. We had a job in New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans, Louisiana, from Indiana. It happens occasionally. We did road trips. So
his last name wasn't Colonel, was it?
No.
Okay, no.
But
right.
So
no,
Steve,
I'm just joking, Steph.
So Steve goes down with a bunch of other, goes down to New Orleans with a bunch of other guys. And of course, they scheduled this fucking install of furniture over Mardi Gras weekend. So let's start there. What idiot schedules a bunch of construction workers to go during Mardi Gras? Dumb to begin with. So they're out partying in the night. You can imagine. So they're at a bar and fucking they're all partying and whatnot, and this girl comes over, and I guess she was a very attractive girl, had long blonde hair, blue eyes, just a beautiful woman, comes over to Steve and starts flirting him up and what have you. And Steve, he's a big old redneck from Indiana, and he's just like, yeah baby, let's do something. So they went off into the bathroom in the bar at the time. So they take off, right? The bartender comes over to his friends and goes, your buddy realizes that's a dude, right? so of course, Steve had no idea this was a dude. So the girl leaves, right? And so she's apparently going to a room because he comes back all just proud of himself. And he goes, I know. He goes, this is the best blowjob I have ever had. So, right.
I'm leaving it up for the rest of the show.
Right.
I'm just letting everybody know.
So apparently she had went to the hotel room where these motherfuckers were.
Oh my God.
And wound up having to kick her out because Steve was like, because of course they told, and now the entire company. Steph,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for associating you with this story at all. I deeply apologize. I deeply apologize. Oh gosh, this is not about Stephen Urkel. I mean, I'm Kernell. Damn, I fucked it up, man. I went all Family Matters and I fucked up the joke. Anyway, you know what I meant. Stefan Urkel. Anyway, yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's much worse. But I'm still dying inside from Natasha saying my wife should have lined up her beard. Oh man,
For sure.
Oh my gosh. No, it was like me, because we had seen her out a few times, and like me and my homie were like, her name was Blue Eyes. That was like she had the most gorgeous blue eyes. So like that was like, and anyway, and it was kind of a big get that I got her number and everything, but
yeah, no beards.
Yikes, man.
Yeah.
So wait, what ethnicity is that? What like ethnic descent? Like
I don't know. I mean, she's just a blue-eyed white girl.
Stashes and beards on their women. Is it like the French culture? I think.
No, I don't know. Not mine.
Not in my preference.
We're looking to avoid specific. Hey, bro.
And look, for what it's worth, I have to say, like, my wife was just joking when she said the thing. Like, she knew like who I was, and like I wasn't trying to like smash or anything like that. Like, that wasn't like how I was built. I wasn't moving like that. Even as a young college kid or whatever, I was still like
Chad, you wasn't out here playing that thing.
No, I wasn't.
You weren't out here being a devious.
How you think me and my wife, we started dating each other after that experience? Like we started dating each other like a month later, and
I know she teased
we still didn't have sex until we got married.
Oh,
so like 5 years.
That's good actually.
And that wasn't just me like trying to get it and her saying no. That was like we were both like we were. I think part of it like the way I was raised, but then another part of it too was I think we both recognized in each other that like we had found something and we didn't want to fuck it up.
Right.
So that's the biggest takeaway from this whole conversation that I would give to you, Nicco, is find that person that makes you not want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah, I have to make sure that I ain't left swipe on any of my previous exes and make sure that they're like, I most definitely aim for mother material out of anything. Like that's like my number one pursuit when it comes to like what motherly values would you be able to provide my children? And is your people like it's the mother instinct in the woman that I'm pursuing, and also the family. Like, is your family cool as shit? Because if I get capped off tomorrow, are you and my family going to wage war, or are y'all going to be cool still? So it's like I need those to be like some of the biggest factors in when it comes to like integrating my life with another individual's life.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But that is hands down one of the biggest things is that I want to make sure that my future, aka my children, have one of the best plugs / outlets, aka their mama, their teacher. Like that's what I want. I want the best teacher on this planet, aka their mom, to be my wife. I just would love like a proper, I don't know, orthodox wife, if you will, like
trad wife,
traditional. Like I would just prefer that, so that I know for a fact that my future, my offspring won't get led astray. That's like one of my biggest proponents in life.
Nicco needs to find him like a Shamika. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody that's traditional, but
oh yeah, like look, because I most definitely like will be like, okay, let's build this ranch, let's mind our own fucking business, let's teach these kids right. And when the kids go out into the world and they're like, so you know who Kanye West is? And they're like, who? Like I mean, I'm not gonna keep my kids that ignorant, but like most definitely restricted to the point. It's like, if they not gonna provide, okay, if you're not feeding the person, so feeding them as an intellectually, food wise, or long story short, if you're not feeding, financing me, or fucking me, there's no point. So basically, if they cannot provide anything that's of value to my kids, they're not going to be in my kids' life.
Well, but all of that's good, and I get where you're coming from, and I understand all that. But Nicco, I'm telling you, you need to leave room for it just to happen.
Yeah, build yourself and leave room for God to work His way into dropping that gem in your lap, in your life. Like I said, so I said this on Jeff's show Thursday night.
I can't wait to see that.
You run as hard and as fast as you can in the right direction that you're supposed to be going for Nicco, and the right person is gonna just appear beside you.
Nah, I don't got any kids, fam.
It's like that. But it's funny. So you're talking about like the parents and stuff like that of who you are. And when I was thinking of that thing, what she did for me when we were just friends, like making sure my neckline was set up right. That's the kind of thing like a mom would do for her son. And I was like, oh, she's kind of dope. Like she's going to take care of me in my mission. And like Phil Foster put something out the same day, and I didn't say it on Jeff's show. He kind of got mad. He's like, "Well, you should have said that on the show." But Phil said, "Imagine you send your wife off to go to work, to go to a job, and she's going help some other man build his dream when she could be helping you build yours." So I was like, "Ooh, damn! Like that's
bars.
That's
fire.
Shit."
That's fire.
And so, but part of that comes back to I'm where I am right now, and like I kind of can't afford to like be like, all right, you're gonna quit. But we did that for a stretch of time where for eight years she had completely quit, and then for a couple of years she just did like tutoring, like part time. But that was basically like, you're gonna take care of our kids. You're gonna make sure that daycares and other people aren't raising our kids when they're babies. You're gonna make sure that they get from birth to where they can talk and like read and all that kind of stuff. You're going to get them to there, and then they can go, to school or whatever. But you're also she's a teacher. So she always had a job where it was convenient to where she had time off when they had time off, all the holidays matched up in the summer and all that matched up. And, she got up in the morning, brought them to school, went to work, got off of work, went and picked them up from school, came back home, that sort of thing. So that it's really, really helpful in that regard. But to her parents, I couldn't help but think, everybody knows this, y'all saw it a few weeks back. So we always promote Uncle Hotep and Uncle Hotep Factor after, coming up after this show, and that's coming up in a couple of minutes. He's having one notorious Aunt BB on his show tonight. And so I want to say a special shout out to Aunt BB for calling my mother-in-law and father-in-law, who she does not know and who has no idea who they are or what they went through, calling them fascist worms because they did not get down with Castro and chose to leave as teenagers to escape to come to the United States. Like so many people, apparently Castro is so great and there's so many fascist worms that they escape on trash cans with lawnmower motors to come across the Atlantic from Cuba to Miami because they're such fascist shills of big corporations that they can't get enough big corporations, so they have to leave wonderful, glorious Cuba to come to the United States. Anyway, my rant is over. I don't appreciate people who resort to ad hominem right out of the gate and aren't willing to actually, and then like claim some sort of stupid victory or whatever. I appreciate Uncle Hotep for bringing different voices and everything on. Like people who
Uncle
he finds
Hotep's
interesting.
awesome.
Yeah, Uncle Hotep's an amazing dude. I'm proud to have worked with him and building Hotep Nation.
And BB can suck my ass.
To help them. I'm not going to say that, but
I'd shit.
but I'm not a. I don't appreciate the way that she interacts with people who she doesn't understand or agree with. And so, anyway, but I digress. that's where my wife's parents come from, and like it was interesting to me as I was going through the genesis and the entry into this long-term relationship with her, watching like how the way that they interacted with the world influenced how she interacts with the world. And now we have taken my mother-in-law into our home to live with us, and like she's been an amazing grandmother to my kids. My wife's father, rest in peace. He was a great grandfather to my kids, and I think it does matter. That's why I said, even on Jeff's show, I think we need to bring back the idea of courting, where you actually date the person's family, where you actually get to meet all. You're going to have to interact with those people anyway. You're going to go to all the Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter gatherings and everything. You're going to run into them at different times, Sunday afternoon, dinner, whatever. It's you are taking in an entire person, everything that comes with them, into integration with yourself when you enter into the type of relationship that creates people. Because that's what these male female interactions are designed to do. And so you have to really, really consider all of the people who are going to potentially influence those children. And that also influences, you can see a lot of that stuff in those kids and how they interact with the world. And my wife, I don't know, I know we have our times where we butt heads and everything, but like, there's a reason why we're going on 25 years of marriage and 30 years of being together. And that's because she's an amazing human being. And it's crazy how we have grown together, because she wasn't an anarchist. She actually was one of these people who used to get the flu shot. And now, boy,
how'd you do that? Like, how did you brainwash her? Like, did you sit her under some strobe?
I just always said, I ain't ever getting that shit. And eventually she figured out it all goes back to like my son got mono, and like part of it happened when her dad, may he rest in peace, got diagnosed with like a cancerous cyst in his jaw. And so like first there was all this, like they thought he had a salivary gland that was an issue, and they kept giving him antibiotics and all this other kind of bullshit and never did anything. Finally, they did like an x-ray and they're like, oh, you have a cyst right here. So the doctors, as amazing as they are, because they can't stop it, just like, let's remove the cyst. You're 76 years old. Let's remove the cyst and see if, that takes care of it. You can live the rest of your life with the cyst removed. And no, they said, oh, we think it might be cancerous. We're going to remove your entire from here to here of your jaw. And then we're going to put a piece of your tibia up there, because we're like Dr. fucking Frankenstein or some shit. We're going to make ourselves, I don't know, noteworthy and rich and whatever else. So they did that stuff. That didn't work. The bone died. Then they pulled like part of his pectoral muscle up into his face. That didn't work either. He lived the rest of his life taking Ensure through a feeding tube, which is terrible. It's just sugar and trash. It's garbage. So anyway, one day he got up to go to the bathroom, dropped dead. So when you look at that stuff and like the cancer industry, and I will say that it is an industry, the cancer industry, and then you look at the other thing industry that we have been watching in full force the last couple of years. When my son had mono in 2017, and we went like full like homeopathic and took care of all that stuff, and nothing happened. He fully recovered. He's an elite level physical conditioning athlete and everything. He's still got to work on some of his help side defense and blocking out and different things like that. But we're getting there. But no, like physical conditioning wise, he's like he'd run circles around most people. And anyway, he's a big part of the reason why she kind of turned the corner on that stuff. She started looking into a lot of stuff. She started to like unearth some truths, lifting some rocks that hadn't been lifted for a while. And she went completely on the other side of that stuff, where she's like, nah, we don't fuck with that stuff anymore. So
Wow. Yeah. But that is a lot of times I think those breadcrumbs are what guides us. It's an awful story, though. What's funny is I was...
And fuck you, Aunt Bibi, for calling that man a fascist worm because he escaped a dictator who was murdering people.
Right.
Fuck you. Anyway, I apologize.
Well, that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with the statist left. Now, I'm not talking about anarchist left. If you're anarchist left, you're one of us. I don't give a shit. But that's what's wrong with statist left, is that
I get down with these fucking big ass corporations in the first place. I don't. Like, just because I don't think that fucking Castro is the answer doesn't mean that I like the fucking corporations.
Right.
That he's sucking their dicks too. Because he had his own little cabal of people who are running his shit. Right. Don't act like he fucking didn't, and that this wasn't just a competition for power.
It's all fascism.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah. The thing is, these communists are fascists because they don't actually want communism. They don't want to take their shit and divide it out. The statist left are the people who don't do anything but read books about fucking freedom. They don't do anything but read books about how to run a society, about economics, they have no fucking idea what it means to live in a socialist utopia. They have no idea what it means to starve to fucking death like they do in every fucking socialist country that has ever come to power. They don't know. They just read books and pretend like they do, and then call people that are out there doing the work fascists. And, if they want to call me a fascist, they're a moron, because at the end of the fucking day, I don't believe in any government, none, and these morons would call us alt-right. One of the things that I've begun doing is, I think it was Hotep Drelly had posted a thing about...
Hotep Drelly's the GOAT, man. I love that dude. Yeah, you gotta have him on at some point. That would be fun.
For sure. But he was talking about they're calling the Hoteps Ankh right.
I was like, well, bro, that was
I want to be Ankh right.
Right?
I like that shit. That's good stuff. But at the end of the day, those people are fucking tools of the state, and fuck Aunt Bibi. I don't care.
So I apologize for I mean, like the part of me that was talking shit to that part of her that was doing what she did that day. What I want to try to leave some space for is like some forgiveness, and also like some self-awareness and some introspection and evaluation of philosophy. Because it's funny, like she said something about how she was blind until 2016 when she woke up or something like that. I'm like, 2016. I mean, that's cool. Like, I mean, props to you for waking up whenever you woke up or whatever. But like this is like I've been woke up before 2016, and like if you think that like because they go back, her and Scott like to go back to this Lewis Powell memo from like the 70s that was like, we're going to take over the regulatory structure or whatever. Like, the regulatory structure was made to be used and manipulated by the people who want to wield government as a weapon against the people.
For sure.
The U.S. government was created, shout out to Hotep Jesus and the Patriot Report, for bringing this stuff not just to light, because a lot of this stuff was, you and I knew about some of this stuff from our previous study with Rothbard, Mises, Bastiat, even going back to like de Tocqueville and some of the, like, there's so many different folks, and Emma Goldman and Lysander Spooner. Like,
sure,
the anarchist ideas are not devoid of an understanding that banks, money interests, and merchants have created these little puppet governments for centuries to consolidate power and funnel money, resources, and power into their hands.
For sure.
So to act like this just happened in the 80s and that it's Reagan's fault and that fucking FDR wasn't a piece of shit doing the same thing, just with different interests funding him and different interests that he was funneling money back to, is like retarded and completely blind and ignorant. And so what I want to do is offer like, okay, look, I get it. Like, you think that this is the problem. I don't disagree that that's a big part of the problem, but to act like the state isn't the weapon that was created for that purpose, and now you're just seeing it wielded at its new level of power. They just kept leveling up that weapon,
Right.
You know, to take it back to video game lore, you know, like you get a weapon and it's like it's this clunky piece of shit, like it's really hard to swing the sword and it doesn't do that much damage. But then you take it to the blacksmith and you let him bang on it for a little while, and maybe you add some adamantium to it or whatever the fuck it is, you know. Now that thing's all of a sudden it's as lightweight as this little Cubs thing that I made, and you throw it at somebody and it'll take their head off, you know. Like, that's where they've just been perfecting their weapon. And and if you watch, what they do is they just measure what people will tolerate. That's why what we've been watching is these mandates have gone crazy. And then when the pushback got strong enough, they're like, all right, we did enough. Let's not go too much. And I kind of equate it back to, since we're talking about love and dating and all that stuff on this episode, it's kind of like they're feeling you up and they're seeing if they can get their hand on your tit or if they can get it up your bra or whatever it is, you know, like how much are they going to let me get away with? And when they let me get away with that, I'll back. And when they say stop, I'll back off a little bit and then I'll go right back there again and push that limit again. Like it's very transparent to me anyway.
For sure.
This is what's been going on. Yeah, it's rape. It's rape. It's rape, but it's very, very gradual. What's it? Fabian socialist style date rape.
Right. Well, just like Shaw said, it's the kind of rape where they play nice classical music before they guide you into the gas chambers. And so I do want to, we probably ought to start wrapping up, but I do want to say one more thing about your friend, Miss BB. And that is, not everything is left versus right.
Fuck you, Scott, bro. I can't. I'm sorry, Marcus. You're trying to make a very salient, very serious point. And Scott says you got to keep trying, Chad. It's practice. Putting a bra on a pillow to practice how to unhook it. Fuck you. Oh my God!
Yeah, told you if I can, but
this guy.
But to get at her, to get it at Aunt BB, the bottom line is, you know, they have got, she's stuck in the left versus
she's
right.
Figured some shit out. I'm not going to take that away from her. She's figured some shit out for sure. But don't shit on people who like actually agree with you on 80%, 90% of your shit.
Black people just be ignorant and say shit, man.
She's not black.
Miss BB is not black.
No, she's white. She's a old white lady who lives in Canada.
I'm thinking of a different old lady. Oh well, that's even worse. Karen's be saying shit and just be smiling.
She's got some mad Karen energy for sure.
But she's stuck in the left versus right because I've had similar arguments with her. You're absolutely right. It's you said something I don't agree with, therefore you must be a Republican. Right.
Shill. Or you're a libertarian who like loves the WEF. I'm like,
right.
What?
Like, yeah. I'm not Rand Paul. And you
exactly.
know, at the end of the fucking day, that's not what I am. I'm an anarchist. Yeah. And, you know, what it reminded me of when you were talking about Reagan doing all that shit, our lineage, our history goes back to people like Voltairine de Cleyre, who was absolutely 100 years ago saying anarchism isn't just a new way of looking at society. It is a new way of looking at religion. It is a new way at looking at economics. because we don't believe, and this is me, not her, we don't believe that we have the right to tell somebody else what the fuck they can do. We don't believe that if you have a corporation that you get special breaks. We don't believe that. We believe each individual makes their own fucking choices, and each individual moves forward as they will and should not be hampered. As long as they're not hurting nobody else, they shouldn't be stopped from doing whatever the fuck they want, however the fuck they want. If your community wants to have a socialist commune, all right, do that. My little fucking community is going to build shit a different way. And we'll help you when you fail. When you're starving to death, we'll come help you. But at the end of the day, if you want to try that, you go do that. But don't make me do it. So at the end of, yeah. So Nicco, I think to kind of wrap this back into love is the answer. Open your heart. You are beyond all of the nonsense and all of the things that we've talked about tonight. I care about you. You are a very good person. And I hope and I pray, and I will be making prayers to Erzulie, the goddess of love, for you, because you deserve. And for those that freak out, that's Mary. If you're freaking out about me praying to Mary, have an issue.
Right? Actually, Erzulie's going to be my daughter's name. I already have it picked out.
Nice. So I'm going to pray to Erzulie for you this coming Friday. And because that's her day for me. And because you not only should have and can have a great relationship, you're a really fucking good person, and you deserve all the happiness that love can give you.
We got to find Nicco somebody like Charisse or something like that.
Actually, I'm going to talk to y'all after the program, but I have something in the works to help mitigate all of this. And I'll be all right, cool. I mean, granted, you have to believe in the process, but it's like Joel Embiid. Trust the process, baby. Like we just got James Harden waiting for the splash. You feel me? Just trust the process.
Word. Well, if I may, I'll say one little thing, because I kind of lost myself there for a minute. I'm trying to be better about this stuff, and I didn't. I mean,
being too much like me, Chad.
There's a part of me.
11-day, Chad.
There's a part of me that meant it when I said F that person. There's another part of me that's regretting having said that and wishes I hadn't said it. I don't want to come across as being like, angry, full of vitriol or anything like that and wishing ill on anyone. Like I actually would hope that one day, I kind of felt like we had established this with Scott. And I don't know, it's weird. Like I feel a difficulty in like talking to him about it, like reaching out and saying like, hey, look, because I can't bring myself to like do that, to reach out like that. Maybe it's my pride getting in the way. I don't know. But anyway,
you don't reach out to a dog who's barking at you.
No, I understand that, but I think I will just extend this. I'll extend the hope and the prayer that that they will realize that we are not enemies.
For sure.
Because even with what I said, I realize that we're not enemies.
No.
And that we are actually,
the state is our enemy.
We're fighting against the same groups of people who want us dead, or at the very least compliant with like evil. Okay? And I here's the crazy part. That second part is worse than the first part.
For sure.
I'd rather be dead. I'd much rather be dead. Just go ahead and kill me. Take me. I'd rather be dead.
I gotta go. I'm good.
Than comply with evil.
Fine.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, I know, like, yeah, I mean, I'm down to, like, do whatever I got to do to defend myself, too. But strike me down now rather than me become the evil that I'm fighting against. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is like back to that point about like we are not enemies. Those guys are our enemies, and we should be working together and not try like it just drives me crazy that like if I say I'm an anarchist or a libertarian, like they gotta go back and say that like somehow I'm down with the WEF. I'm down with the Great Reset. Like, no, the fuck I'm not. What universe are you from? You think I fuck with Dan Crenshaw and Tulsi Gabbard? No, I recognize they were fucking Manchurian motherfuckers from jump. Did y'all? Like, y'all, Scott's over there like loving DeSantis. What do you think's gonna happen when like he's half-ass okay on the vid shit? He's not even completely cool with that stuff. He's just not as psycho. He's just not as psycho as all the other governors.
Right. He is a JAG officer. He was a JAG officer at Guantanamo. So I'm saying, fuck
like, bro, you're talking about a Fed, bro.
Right.
You're talking about a Fed like you love him. I mean, like that's cool. Like I hope he stays governor of Florida. That's where he needs to stay. But God help us if he becomes the president. Because gee, you think that, bro? They're gonna have. It's gonna be something else. It's gonna be some war or some other thing that they're gonna turn into whatever this was supposed to be. Because I guarantee you that motherfucker was first in line if he would have been in Congress, he would have been first in line to vote for the Patriot Act.
Yep.
And that, my friends, is like the whole like Trojan horse. I don't even want to call it a Trojan horse. It's like a Trojan. It's a Trojan fucking scorpion. And we were like, hey, a scorpion. Let's bring it in. Like, do you know what scorpions do?
Right.
They try to kill you. Like, why are you taking a scorpion in? It's a gift. Like, yeah, but it might have some other shit in it.
Venom.
In addition to the stinger. Like, lo and behold, all the right-leaning people who loved the Patriot Act because we got to be scared of the Muslims, they got to watch. Now they're seeing Patriot Act type shit being brought down upon their heads right now, just north of the border, and some of it down south of the Canadian-U.S. border, because a lot of that shit got dropped down on us. Free speech is a fucking fantasy long gone, and there's worse shit coming. You got to be prepared for it. And that's the thing. Like what we've been trying to do for 2 years now is build relationships with people and a coalition so that we weren't alone, and so that our friends and our viewers, our audience wasn't alone. And to have people who I thought we were working together with and fighting together with, like, shoot us in the back. It's kind of weird. Huh?
We're gonna have that though.
Yeah.
That's
I know,
gonna happen.
It's disappointing. I can't
for sure.
I can't just be like, yeah, well, shit happens. You know, like I get
you're
it.
Right.
Like it is what it is. But I also hate the phrase "it is what it is" because it's a really defeatist phrase.
Yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, Chad,
ranting too much. But we said a rant was going to happen today.
For sure.
I said this.
But
Nicco numerology this bitch from the jump.
Right.
I predicted it. I'm sorry.
But at the end of the day, Chad, better him. Think about it. Think about the people that we have aligned ourselves with. Think about it. Better him. Better that it was somebody like him rather than Maj.
Yeah,
or rather Hotep Jesus or
somebody really, really influential, and
right. Better him, because at the same time,
I still have hope, but that's why I said that. Like I still want to extend the hope and the prayer that they'll kind of be like, oh yeah, you know what? Like these guys aren't like fighting against us; they're fighting with us. They just understand things a different way. Maybe we can learn a little bit from them, because that's why we brought him on. Was I wanted to learn from him because I think he has something I can learn from, and I did. Yeah, we all did.
Yeah. The problem is, Yeah, it is disappointing, but we can't make them learn. You know, at the end of the day, we had Maj on. Maj was, and I use Maj because he was a good guest, not only for us, but for our audience. He was a good guest. And not only did Maj teach us a shit ton, he did. He taught us a lot. He walked away from that conversation learning things too. What happened with Scott Creighton was Scott came in and he taught us things, and we were open to learning those things. But he walked away without learning, and that is his loss of opportunity. Because I'm going to be frank, I'm very proud to be with y'all sitting on this stage. I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to associate myself with the people that we have worked hard to build those alliances with. I'm proud of it because they're good people, and these are smart people, and they're people that I have learned a billion things from. So Scott missed out on that. That's his bad.
Yeah.
So
no, thank you for that, because I kind of needed to like recalibrate that whole sentiment. That's good shit. I appreciate that. And I still I still got a lot of love for Scott. I mean, I have the love of a Christian man for all of humanity for Aunt BB, because she has really never even pretended to not hate anyone who doesn't go lockstep with everything she believes. So it's very difficult. I have to stretch my compassion to extend love in that direction. But I got a lot of love for Scott. I appreciate what he does. He's very thorough in what he does, and he's very he's opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that it's not so much about, because I knew all this stuff about the Great Reset. I knew about the WEF. I knew about whatever Agenda 21 and Event 201 and all that shit. I knew about all that stuff before I even knew who Scott was. So it's not like this is some revelation to me or to any of us. What he brought was how his perspective kind of connected some dots, and then brought and this is what this might do, and this is what this might do, and this is how they're using this, and this is why that's important. Those kinds of things. Because I have a tendency to, because I'm living such a fast pace, I have so many balls in the air that I have a tendency to executive summary everything, and I'm just that's some fuck shit over there. I don't know exactly all the details of it, but it's some fuck shit. So I'm going to avoid that, and I'm going to work in opposition, or at least in disconnection from it.
Right.
He goes a lot more into the weeds, and so it makes it to where it's convenient for me to watch one of his videos for 20 minutes and be like, okay, he just did 10 hours worth of work and put it in a 20-minute video for me. I don't know what I said, Dutch. Apparently it was pause-worthy. Pause. I apologize. But whatever. I don't know what
I don't know either.
I'm thinking, I think I kind of know, and I don't want to say it again, but I damn. My bad. Anyway, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? That's kind of where that shit is. And I'm sorry, Nicco. I'm ranting, and I'm just
hey,
I'm hogging the mic for the last 30 minutes.
Look, I don't have to say shit about my relationship.
Oh, balls in the air. Okay. No, I'm talking about juggling, motherfuckers.
I got that.
That's on y'all. That's on y'all. Look, for having your fucking mind in the weirdo ass sexual.
What is wrong with you?
Y'all
because we talk about
Jack
love,
Murphy
y'all
pegging your man bullshit.
The boys and the babies.
Always talking about that.
You're nasty things. What's wrong with that? Didn't y'all parents tell y'all to clean the gutters every 2 months?
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Speaking of which, I got some mad gutter cleaning to do. I got leaves everywhere out there. I gotta take care of that before it starts pouring down rain. And then they get all soggy and disgusting. But I also want to say this. I especially love and appreciate and respect Uncle Hotep. And I don't have anything this is not me saying fuck you, Uncle Hotep, for bringing them on. No, that's not that at all. I love the fact that he brought Scott on, and Aunt BB was being retarded in the comments. And that he's going to bring her on, and then I'm not going. I don't know. I don't have any interest in watching it, to be perfectly honest. y'all let me know if she says some shit about me behind my back, but it's all good. Like whatever. She got mad at me because I said something behind her back because like I blocked her and then I like somebody sent me a screenshot, so I posted the screenshot of like whatever she had said because she was like talking shit about like she called my in-laws fascist worms and then tried to act like I don't know what an ad hominem attack is. That's a fucking ad hominem attack. Like you called my in-laws names instead of defending Fidel Castro.
Right.
I just said, wow, the hero worship of murderous tyrants is sickening. And she was like, your in-laws, blah, 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 whatever. Like, fuck you. Anyway. Anyway, I appreciate for bringing her on. I actually like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, you know what? Come on, we'll debate. But I would want to set some ground rules of like how it's going to be. We're going to be cordial and we're going to keep it on like the real stuff.
Start that smoke.
But I don't want to do that. Like I really don't
necessarily starting smoke.
No, she doesn't deserve this platform.
Yes and no.
She's completely disrespectful.
Yes, we've have those disrespectful ass wipes, but without having that rapport or conversation and not learning to be the grown fucking men that we're supposed to be and not be emotional when we're dealing with ignoramuses such as this, you know, this is where we show our growth. Are we able to be like, I'm gonna curse you out somewhere? But
yeah, the thing is, if she had said something about me, I don't give a fuck. Like, talk shit about me all day. I got this. I can eat bullets and spit them back at you. Fuck out of here. I don't care. Don't talk about my mother-in-law. Don't talk about my father-in-law. That's my wife's mom and dad.
Oh yeah.
Who like they fucking came over here with like a suitcase and like $5. You think that they're fascist worms? Fuck out of here, dumbass.
Right. So back to love.
Hello, everybody. Hello, all y'all who in the chat. Thank you for
Chad,
showing up.
This is why we're here. We're here for each other, man. The bottom line is you don't deserve that. I know that you're like, come at me and all of that. You do not deserve that because it isn't a found. If somebody comes at me and they're like, okay, in my understanding, what's going to happen in an anarchist society is this, and this, and this is going to happen. I can debate that. I can understand that. I can understand coming at me with your arguments against anarchy. When they come at you with arguments against Republicans and then don't accept I'm not a Republican as an answer, that's fucked up and you deserve more respect than that.
Yeah.
That's the end of the line. And the reason I know that is because I know you. Because our entire purpose, the reason why we do this for people to know is so that people can come together and see each other for what we are. We are all human beings who deserve respect, love, and dignity. And when they try to take that away from you, that's not acceptable. And the reason that it's not acceptable is that's not how you run a society based on love. So you can she can have her socialist utopia all day long because it will be based on coercion. It will be based on force. It will be based on aggression and violence because that's what she is arguing with. You will know them by their fruits. And that's what she argues with. We argue from a point of view of, can we not live and let live? That's about love. We don't have a problem with her being a socialist. Notice none of this fucking conversation was she's wrong about this, and this. She is wrong, in my opinion, about this, and this.
Yeah,
like
I ain't even bothered by that. Like that's right. Yeah, whatever.
This is about her personally attacking you. And you
she didn't attack me. She attacked my mother-in-law.
Right, but she got it.
Sweet old lady.
She got at you through. Yeah, but she was attacking you. Yeah. She got at you through your mother-in-law because she knew she couldn't hurt you by attacking you directly. So she went to something that did hurt you.
Right.
And that is unacceptable. That is not how we I would not be a privy to that conversation. That is not a conversation I will participate in. In my voluntarist world, you start having that kind of conversation, go fuck yourself. I'm walking away. The right thing to do is what you did. You blocked her. She deserved every bit of that block. So I, again, love Uncle Hotep. Uncle Hotep has been massively influential on me. Maybe not as much as Hotep Jesus, but still a great dude. Still a great dude. I think personally, I would get along with him better than a lot of other Hoteps. Yeah. I think that personally, he and I would have a lot in common on a personal level.
No, you got to come. You got to come to the thing next year.
Want to?
When we do, we got to get you out there so you can meet everybody in person.
For sure. Awesome. But at the end of the day, love is about these kinds of relationships. You don't, and the thing that sucks is whether or not Aunt BB and Scott Creighton want to be on our side of the line when they start shooting folks. They're going to be on our side of the line.
And it might be DeSantis' people shooting you.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like
and where we are coming from.
It's for a different reason.
Right. The love that we're coming from says, get in the ditch, put your head down, here's a gun. You know, that's our side. Our side is, okay, you were a dumbass. Here, let me help you. Stop being a dumbass. Let the enemies over there, they're shooting at us. Stop being a dumbass. You know?
Don't point don't point it at me. Point it at that guy over there.
Right. Yeah. That dude shooting at you, that's the guy you want to go after.
Me. Stop trying to shoot me because I don't like Fidel Castro.
Right. So
I gotta go.
That's where we
go. I'm getting a call in the background.
All right. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Again.
Go watch Uncle Hotep.
Love y'all. Go watch Uncle Hotep. See what we're talking about. All right.
Shout out to Uncle Hotep. Shout out to NPP. Peace.
Love y'all.
Peace.
Stay free.
All right. Yeah. Stay free.